Hello, and welcome to tonight's peaceful journey together. We're going to visit some very special places that will help your busy mind become quiet and calm. Before you get settled, please like this video and subscribe. I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is. Just drop a comment and let me know. It's always wonderful to see people from around the world joining us. Now turn down your lights, maybe switch off that fan or any background noise, and let's start this peaceful journey together. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. Feel your body sink a little deeper into your bed or chair. Part 1. The Floating Lantern Journey. You're walking along a narrow dirt path as the sun begins to set. The air is warm and gentle, like a soft blanket wrapped around your shoulders. Birds are singing their last songs of the day, and somewhere in the distance, you can hear water moving slowly. Your feet follow the winding path through tall grass that whispers secrets as you pass. The worries from your day feel heavy in your chest, all those thoughts spinning around and around like leaves caught in the wind. But something is calling you forward, deeper into this peaceful place. The path opens up, and there it is, a small, perfectly round pond. The water is so still, it looks like a mirror reflecting the pink and orange sky above. Lily pads float quietly on the surface, and tiny fireflies are just beginning to dance in the air. But what catches your eye is something very special sitting on a smooth rock by the water's edge. It's a paper lantern, delicate and beautiful, glowing softly with a warm golden light. As you get closer, you notice it's not quite like other lanterns you've seen. This one seems to shimmer and move gently, as if it's breathing. You sit down beside it on the soft grass. The moment your fingers touch the lantern, you feel something wonderful. All those heavy thoughts in your chest become a little lighter. It's as if the lantern is saying, I can help carry those for a while. Without knowing exactly how, you understand what to do. You lift the lantern carefully, feeling how light it is, like holding a soap bubble or a feather. As you hold it close to your heart, you whisper to it about one worry that's been bothering you today. Maybe it's something that happened at school or work or with a friend. Just one worry. You let it flow from your mind into the warm light. The lantern glows a little brighter, and suddenly, the most amazing thing happens. Your feet leave the ground, not scary or fast, just gentle and easy, like sinking into a warm bath, but upward instead of down. You're floating, rising slowly into the evening sky, the glowing lantern lifting you higher and higher. Below you, the pond gets smaller and smaller. You can see the path you walked, winding like a silver ribbon through the grass. But you're not afraid. The lantern's warm light surrounds you like a protective bubble, and the evening breeze carries you forward. You drift over a small village where people are finishing their day. Warm yellow light glows from windows, and you can see families gathering for dinner. Smoke rises gently from chimneys, and children are being called inside by loving voices. Everything looks so peaceful from up here, so small and manageable. As you float above this quiet scene, you feel that second worry in your chest. Maybe something about tomorrow that's been making you anxious. You whisper it to the lantern too, and watch as the worry dissolves into the golden light. The village below seems to nod approvingly, as if saying, yes, let that go. Tomorrow will take care of itself. The gentle breeze carries you onward over a whispering forest. The trees below sway together like old friends dancing slowly. Their leaves rustle with ancient wisdom, and as you listen, you can almost hear them saying, We've seen many seasons come and go. We've weathered storms and celebrated sunshine. Nothing lasts forever, not the good or the bad. Everything passes, everything changes, and that's okay. A third worry rises in your mind, perhaps something about a mistake you made, or words you wish you could take back. You share this with the lantern too, and watch as the forest below seems to absorb it through its deep green canopy. The trees know about mistakes. They know about growing crooked sometimes, about branches that break and heal. They forgive you, and slowly, you begin to forgive yourself. You float on, carried by the warm evening air, over a series of small lakes that look like scattered jewels in the fading light. Ducks swim in peaceful lines, leaving gentle V-shapes in their wake. A heron stands perfectly still at the water's edge, patient and calm, teaching you something about waiting without worry. The fourth and fifth worries come up now. Those nagging thoughts about what others might think of you, or whether you're doing enough, being enough. You offer these to the lantern as well, and as they dissolve into light, you feel yourself becoming lighter still. The lakes below seem to wink at you, their surfaces catching the last rays of sunlight like thousands of tiny stars. You realize you're not just floating anymore, you're gliding, moving with purpose towards something beautiful ahead. In the distance, you can see rolling hills covered in something that looks like purple clouds. As you get closer, the most wonderful smell reaches you, sweet and calming and familiar. It's lavender, endless fields of lavender stretching out like a soft purple sea. The flowers sway gently in unison, creating waves of color that ripple across the hillsides. The scent is so peaceful, so calming, that any remaining worries in your mind simply fade away. The lantern begins to descend slowly, carrying you down toward the lavender field like a leaf falling gently from a tree. Your feet touch the soft earth between the rows of flowers, and you realize the lantern is growing dimmer now. Its work is almost done. You set it carefully on the ground among the lavender stems. As it grows fainter, you feel profoundly grateful, not just for the journey, but for the reminder that your worries don't have to stay with you. They can be released, transformed, or simply left behind in beautiful places like this. The lantern gives one final soft glow and then becomes transparent, like morning mist. It fades completely, but you're not sad. You know it will appear again whenever someone needs it, by another quiet pond, ready for another gentle journey. You lie down right there among the lavender, the soft flowers making a natural pillow beneath your head. The purple blooms surround you like a warm embrace, and their peaceful scent fills every breath. Above you, the first stars are appearing in the deep blue sky, twinkling like tiny lanterns themselves. Your mind is quiet now. Your body feels light and relaxed. The day's worries are gone, carried away on the evening breeze, or absorbed by the wise forest and peaceful lakes. All that remains is this moment, you, surrounded by beauty, breathing in peace, ready for the gentle rest that's waiting for you. The lavender field hums softly with the sound of sleepy bees finding their way home. And slowly, peacefully, you close your eyes. Part 2. The Wise Old Oak Tree. You wake gently in the lavender field as the first soft light of dawn touches your face. But this isn't like waking up from regular sleep. You feel refreshed and peaceful, as if you've been resting for exactly the right amount of time. The purple flowers around you glisten with tiny drops of morning dew, and the air smells fresh and clean. You sit up slowly, stretching your arms toward the sky, In the distance, you notice something you hadn't seen before. A forest. Not a dark or scary forest, but one filled with gentle green light, where tall trees stand like quiet guardians welcoming you home. Your feet find a soft path of moss and fallen leaves that leads toward the trees. Each step feels good, like walking on the most comfortable carpet in the world. The path winds between wildflowers, little white and yellow ones that nod good morning as you pass. As you enter the forest, you notice how quiet it is, but not silent. There's a peaceful kind of noise here. The soft whisper of leaves above you, the gentle tap-tap of a woodpecker somewhere in the distance, and the quiet rustle of small creatures going about their morning routines. The trees around you are beautiful, tall pines that smell like Christmas morning, graceful birches with bark that looks like white paper, and maples with leaves that catch the sunlight like green jewels. But you feel drawn deeper into the forest, following the mossy path as it curves and winds between the tree trunks. You're looking for something, though you're not sure what. Your heart knows, even if your mind doesn't. There's someone here who has been waiting a very long time to meet you. The path opens into a small clearing, and there it is. The most magnificent oak tree you've ever seen. It's enormous, so wide that it would take at least 6 people holding hands to wrap their arms around its trunk. Its branches spread out like giant arms, reaching so far that they create a living roof over the entire clearing. But what strikes you most is how old this tree feels. Not old in a tired way, but old in a wise way, like a grandmother who has seen everything and learned to love it all. The bark is deeply grooved with lines that look like a map of time itself, and the trunk is so solid and strong that you know this tree has been standing here for hundreds of years. As you get closer, something amazing happens. You begin to hear a voice, not with your ears, but somehow in your mind and heart. It's warm and deep and patient, like the sound of wind moving through leaves, but shaped into words. "Hello, little one," the oak tree says gently. "I've been waiting for you." You're not scared at all. Instead, you feel like you're meeting an old friend you forgot you had. You walk right up to the massive trunk and place your hand on the rough bark. It feels warm and alive, and you can sense something like a heartbeat, slow and steady and strong. "I've been here for 300 years, the oak tells you, and in all that time, I've learned something important about patience. Would you like to hear about it?" You nod, settling yourself comfortably at the base of the tree, leaning back against its strong trunk. The bark creates a natural seat that fits you perfectly, and you feel completely safe and supported. "When I was just a tiny acorn," the oak begins, "I was worried about everything. Would I grow big enough? Would I grow fast enough? Would I be as tall as the other trees? I spent so much energy worrying that I almost forgot to actually grow." You look up into the enormous canopy above you, trying to imagine this giant tree ever being small and worried. "But then my first winter came," the tree continues, "and I learned something wonderful. In winter, trees don't try to grow leaves or flowers. We rest. We save our energy. We wait for the right time. And I discovered that waiting isn't wasting time. Waiting is preparing." As the oak speaks, you notice the leaves above you beginning to change, like watching a movie in fast motion. The green leaves slowly turn golden, then orange, then deep red. One by one, they let go and drift down around you like colorful snowflakes. "Every fall," the oak explains, "I let go of thousands of leaves. Each one took energy to make, but I release them without sadness. Do you know why? You shake your head, catching a beautiful red leaf as it spirals down. Because I trust that new ones will come in spring. I don't hold on tight to what I have, because I know that letting go makes room for something new and fresh. The leaves aren't gone forever. They become part of the soil that feeds my roots. Nothing is ever really lost. Now you watch as winter comes to the forest around you. Snow begins to fall gently, covering the oak's bare branches in white lace. But the tree doesn't look sad or empty. It looks peaceful, like it's taking the deepest, most restful breath imaginable. In winter, the oak says, other creatures think I'm sleeping or dead, but inside I'm very much alive. My roots are growing deeper. I'm storing up strength and wisdom. The cold and quiet teach me patience. They remind me that not everything has to happen right now. You pull your imaginary coat a little tighter and snuggle deeper against the tree's warm trunk. Even in this winter scene, the oak feels cozy and protective. Some winters brought terrible storms, the tree continues, and you can hear the wind beginning to howl around you. Snow whips through the air, and the oak's branches sway and creak. But the trunk you're leaning against never moves, solid as a mountain. The storms used to frighten me, the oak admits. I would tense up, trying to fight against the wind, but fighting only made me more likely to break. So I learned to bend with the storm instead of fighting it. I learned that being flexible doesn't mean being weak. It means being smart. You watch as the oak's branches dance with the wind instead of fighting it, bending far but never breaking. The trunk stays strong and rooted while the branches flow like a graceful dancer. When your life feels stormy, the oak tells you, remember that you can be like my branches, flexible enough to bend without breaking. And remember that you can be like my trunk too, deeply rooted in what matters most to you, strong enough to weather any wind. The storm passes, and slowly, spring begins to return to the forest. Tiny green buds appear on every branch, and you watch in wonder as thousands of new leaves unfold, each one perfect and fresh and new. Every spring is like a miracle, the oak says, but it's not really a miracle at all. It's just what happens when you're patient, when you trust the process, when you don't give up during the dark times. The leaves always come back. The warmth always returns. Life always finds a way. Now it's summer in the forest, and the oak's canopy is full and green and gorgeous. Sunlight filters down through the leaves, creating patterns of light and shadow that dance on the forest floor. As you rest against the tree, you begin to notice you're not alone. A red squirrel scampers down the trunk and sits on a root near your feet, twitching its fluffy tail. A family of rabbits hops into the clearing, and several birds land on branches just above your head. They come here when they need peace too, the oak explains. Over the years, I've learned that one of the best things about being patient and rooted is that you become a safe place for others. When you're not rushing around worrying about everything, you have space to help. A deer steps delicately into the clearing, looks at you with gentle brown eyes, and then lies down in the soft grass nearby. More birds arrive, cardinals and blue jays and tiny wrens, filling the air with peaceful chirping. You see, the oak continues, when you stop rushing and start trusting time, something wonderful happens. You become like a tree, strong enough to support others, patient enough to listen, rooted enough to stay steady when others feel shaky. You close your eyes and feel all the life around you, the solid tree at your back, the warm sun on your face, the gentle sounds of forest creatures going about their day. For the first time in a long time, you're not worried about what happens next. You're just here now, surrounded by life and peace and patience. Take this feeling with you, the oak whispers. Remember that growth takes time. Remember that letting go makes room for new things. Remember that bending is stronger than breaking. And remember that sometimes the best thing you can do is simply root yourself in this moment and trust that everything will unfold exactly as it should. The animals around you seem to nod in agreement. The squirrel chatters softly, the rabbits twitch their noses, and the birds sing a gentle song that sounds like, "Patience, patience, all is well." You sit there for a long while, feeling your own roots growing deeper, your own branches becoming more flexible, your own heart becoming more patient and trusting. The wise old oak holds you safely in its peaceful presence, and slowly, naturally, you begin to drift toward the most restful sleep, knowing that you too can weather any storm. Part 3. The Cloud Shepherd. You wake beneath the oak tree as afternoon light filters gently through the leaves above. The woodland creatures have curled up nearby for their own peaceful naps. The rabbits tucked into soft balls of fur, the squirrel draped along a low branch, the deer resting with its legs folded gracefully beneath it. You feel wonderfully rested and calm, like you've absorbed some of the oak tree's deep patience. As you stretch and look up through the canopy, you notice something beautiful happening in the sky above. The clouds are moving in the most unusual way, not just drifting with the wind, but dancing, swirling, forming patterns that look almost like they're being painted by an invisible artist. "Time to go higher," whispers the oak tree gently. "Someone special is waiting to meet you up there." You stand and place your hand on the oak's trunk one more time, feeling that steady strength flow into you. "Thank you for teaching me about patience," you whisper back. The oak's leaves rustle in what sounds like gentle laughter. "Take it with you wherever you go, little one." As you step away from the tree, you notice a path you hadn't seen before, not one that leads deeper into the forest, but one that seems to spiral upward, winding around and around like invisible steps in the air. Without hesitation, your feet find this sky path, and step by step, you begin to climb higher. It's not tiring at all. Each step feels lighter than the last, and soon you're walking above the treetops, then above the hills, then high up in the open sky where the clouds drift like gentle giants. And there, sitting cross-legged on a cloud that looks like a comfortable white cushion, is the most peaceful person you've ever seen. They have kind eyes that sparkle like starlight, and they're wearing clothes that seem to be made of mist and moonbeams. In their hands, they hold what looks like a shepherd's staff, but instead of being made of wood, it seems to be crafted from crystallized wind and captured rainbows. "Hello there," the cloud shepherd says, their voice as soft as a gentle breeze. "I've been wondering when you'd make it up here. The clouds have been asking about you." You look around and realize that all the clouds nearby do seem to be watching you with friendly curiosity. Some are small and round like cotton balls, others are long and wispy like silk scarves, and a few are so big and fluffy they look like floating mountains of whipped cream. "Would you like to meet them properly?" the cloud shepherd asks, patting the space beside them on their cloud seat. You step carefully onto the cloud, and it's exactly what you hoped it would be. Soft and bouncy and perfectly supportive, like sitting on the most comfortable cushion imaginable. The cloud feels warm from the sunshine and smells like clean rain and fresh air. "I've been shepherding clouds for more years than I can count," the cloud shepherd explains, using their special staff to gently guide a small, playful cloud that was starting to wander off. Most people think clouds just drift wherever the wind takes them, but that's not quite true. They need guidance, care, and most importantly, they need someone to help them with their very important job. What job is that, you ask, watching as the cloud shepherd reaches out to pat a particularly fluffy cloud that floats by like a friendly pet. Carrying worries, the cloud shepherd says simply. Every day, people all over the world have thoughts and fears and anxious feelings that feel too heavy to carry alone. These thoughts float up into the sky, and my clouds collect them. Then we transform them into something beautiful and useful. The cloud shepherd stands up on their cloud cushion and beckons for you to follow. Come, let me show you how it works. And bring your own worries if you have any. I'm sure you do. Everyone does. You think for a moment and realize that yes, even after your peaceful time with the oak tree, there are still some worried thoughts tucked away in the corners of your mind. Little anxieties about things you can't control, concerns about people you love, fears about the future. The cloud shepherd guides their cloud over to a larger cloud nearby, one that looks a bit gray and heavy. This cloud has been collecting worries all day, they explain. Feel how it's gotten so full and heavy. It's time to help it transform all that worry into something the earth needs. They reach out with their crystalline staff and gently touch the gray cloud. Immediately, it begins to lighten, and you can see tiny sparkles of silver light swirling within it. All the worried thoughts from people below, but now they're becoming something else. Your turn, the cloud shepherd says, offering you the staff. Think of one of your worries and let it flow up and out of you, into the cloud. You take the beautiful staff. It feels weightless in your hands, like holding a beam of sunlight. You close your eyes and let one of your worries rise up from your chest, up through your throat, and out into the air. You can actually see it. A small, dark ribbon that floats toward the gray cloud. But the moment your worry touches the cloud, something magical happens. The dark ribbon transforms into silver light, and the cloud becomes a little brighter. You feel a sense of relief wash over you, not because the worry is gone, but because it's been transformed into something useful. Now watch, the cloud shepherd says, guiding the cloud over a valley below where flowers are growing in a garden. The cloud releases the transformed worries as gentle rain. Not a sad rain, but the kind that makes flowers dance and birds sing. You can see the garden below coming alive as each drop touches the earth, and you realize that your worry has just helped water someone's roses. Every worry, every anxious thought, every fear can become nourishment for something beautiful, the cloud shepherd explains. Nothing is ever wasted. Even our most difficult feelings can help something grow. You spend time moving from cloud to cloud, helping to collect more worries, some from your own mind, some from the invisible stream of concerns floating up from the world below. Each time, you watch in wonder as the heavy feelings transform into light, then into gentle rain that waters gardens, fills streams, and helps trees grow strong. As you work alongside the cloud shepherd, you begin to understand something profound. Your worries aren't bad or wrong. They're just energy that needs to be transformed. Instead of holding on to them or fighting them, you can offer them up to be changed into something helpful and beautiful. The sun is beginning to set now, and the cloud shepherd guides you to a special cloud, their favorite one, they explain, that sits perfectly positioned to watch the sunset. This cloud is enormous and incredibly soft, like a floating bed made of the coziest blankets imaginable. You lie back on the cloud next to the cloud shepherd, and together you watch as the sun begins its slow journey toward the horizon. As it descends, it paints every cloud in the sky with the most beautiful colors you've ever seen. Soft pink, like the inside of a seashell. Warm orange, like a perfect peach. Deep red like roses, and gold like liquid sunshine. "This is my favorite time of day," the cloud shepherd says softly. "When all the clouds become art and the whole sky turns into a masterpiece. Every single cloud is different, every single sunset is unique, and every single day of worry gathering ends in beauty. You lie there watching the colors shift and change across the sky, feeling completely peaceful. Your cloud bed rocks gently in the evening breeze, and you can hear the soft whispers of other clouds nearby, settling in for the night. As the sun disappears completely, and the first stars begin to twinkle in the darkening sky, the cloud shepherd sits up and reaches for their staff one more time. "Time to take you home," they say gently. "But first, I have a gift for you." They touch their staff to the cloud you're lying on, and suddenly you feel the cloud beginning to descend slowly, gently, like the world's most comfortable elevator. But instead of feeling sad to leave, you feel grateful for the beautiful lesson you've learned. Remember, the cloud shepherd calls as you drift downward. Whenever worries feel too heavy, just imagine sending them up to us. We're always here, always ready to transform them into something beautiful. Nothing you feel is too much for the sky to hold. Your cloud carries you down through the starlit air, past the treetops, and settles gently in a meadow filled with flowers. Flowers that were watered by transformed worries, growing strong and beautiful in the moonlight. As you step off the cloud, it gives you one last gentle bounce, like a loving pat on the head. You wave goodbye as it floats back up to join the cloud shepherd and all the other clouds in their important, beautiful work. You lie down in the flower-filled meadow, surrounded by the sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine and the gentle sound of crickets singing their evening songs. Above you, the stars twinkle like tiny lanterns, and you can just make out the silhouette of the cloud shepherd and their flock of clouds, still working peacefully in the night sky. Your mind feels clear and light, knowing that your worries have become rain for flowers, that your fears have been transformed into nourishment for growing things. You close your eyes with a smile, feeling as soft and peaceful as a cloud drifting on a gentle breeze. Part 4. The Singing River. You wake in the flower meadow as the first light of dawn touches the petals around you. The flowers are covered in dewdrops that sparkle like tiny diamonds, and you can hear something new in the distance, a gentle, musical sound like nature's own lullaby. You sit up and listen more carefully. It's water, not the quiet stillness of a pond, but water that's moving, dancing, singing as it flows over rocks and around bends. The sound calls to you like a friend inviting you to come and play. You follow the sound through the meadow, past clusters of morning glories that are just opening their trumpet-shaped blooms to greet the sun. The grass is soft and cool under your bare feet, and each step seems to bring the water's song closer and clearer. At the edge of the meadow, you find it. A small mountain stream, no wider than you could jump across, bubbling and laughing its way down from the hills above. The water is so clear you can see every pebble on the bottom, and it moves with such joy and energy that you can't help but smile. "Good morning," the little stream seems to say as it gurgles around a smooth boulder. "I've been hoping you'd come visit." You kneel down and dip your fingers in the water. It's perfectly cool and refreshing, and you can feel the gentle current tugging playfully at your hand. Somehow you understand that this stream wants to show you something important about its journey. "Would you like to come along?" the water whispers. "I'm traveling all the way to the sea, and I could use some company." Without knowing exactly how, you find yourself becoming smaller and lighter until you're floating on the water's surface like a leaf or a flower petal. The stream welcomes you with gentle ripples, and suddenly you're part of its flowing song, moving downstream with the current. At first, the stream moves quickly through the mountain terrain, dancing over smooth rocks and creating tiny waterfalls that sparkle in the morning light. You laugh with delight as you're carried over each little cascade, feeling like you're on the world's most gentle water slide. "This is how I handle steep places," the stream explains as you flow together. "I don't fight gravity, I work with it. When the mountain gets steep, I don't worry or struggle. I just let the slope carry me faster, and I turn the challenge into play." You pass through a grove of tall pine trees whose branches hang over the water like a green cathedral. Sunbeams filter through the needles, creating dancing patterns of light on the water's surface. The stream slows down here, becoming more thoughtful and peaceful. "Sometimes the path is easy," the water murmurs, "and sometimes there are obstacles. Watch what I do when we meet them." Ahead, you see a fallen log blocking most of the stream's path. But instead of stopping or getting frustrated, the water simply finds a new way. Some flows over the log, some flows under it, and some flows around the sides. The stream doesn't argue with the obstacle, it just adapts. "You see," the water says gently, "there's always a way through or around any problem. Sometimes I go over, sometimes under, sometimes I find a path to the side. I don't waste energy fighting what I can't change. I just keep moving forward." As you continue downstream, the stream grows wider and deeper as other small brooks join the journey. Each new stream brings its own song, and you listen as they harmonize together, creating a richer, fuller melody. "We're stronger together," the water explains. "Every stream that joins me makes me more powerful, more capable of shaping the landscape, more able to support life. When others join your journey, don't see it as crowding, see it as strength. Now you enter a different landscape, rolling hills covered in wildflowers, where the stream moves more slowly and gracefully. Here you meet the first inhabitants of this water world. A school of small silver fish swims alongside you, their scales catching the light like moving jewelry. "Hello, travelers," the fish seem to say with their gentle movements. "We love it here in the calm sections. The slow water gives us time to play and rest and watch the world above." You watch as the fish dart in and out of underwater gardens of green plants that wave like flags in the current. Some fish swim upstream, some downstream, some hover in the gentle eddies behind rocks. Each one knows exactly how to use the water's energy to go where it wants to go. A bright blue dragonfly lands delicately on the water's surface near you, its wings catching the sunlight like stained glass windows. Then another appears, and another, until there's a whole dance of dragonflies skimming across the water, touching down and lifting off in a graceful ballet. "We love the river too," the dragonflies seem to whisper. "It gives us places to rest, but also the freedom to fly. Sometimes we ride the air currents above, sometimes we rest on the lily pads below. We know how to use both elements, air and water, to live our fullest lives." The stream carries you into a wider, more peaceful section where the water moves like liquid silk. Here, enormous lily pads float like green islands, and you can see several turtles sunning themselves on a log that stretches across a quiet pool. One old turtle lifts its head as you float by. Its eyes are wise and kind, and it moves with the most deliberate, peaceful slowness you've ever seen. "No hurry, no worry," the turtle says in a voice like gentle thunder. "The river has been flowing for thousands of years before us, and it will flow for thousands of years after. There's no rush to get anywhere. The journey itself is the destination." The turtle slides slowly into the water and begins swimming beside you with long, graceful strokes that barely disturb the surface. "I've lived here for 60 years, the turtle continues, "and I've learned that the secret is to move with the water, not against it. When storms come and the river runs fast, I find a quiet cove and wait. When drought comes and the water runs low, I dig deeper into the mud and rest. I don't fight the changes, I adapt to them." As the afternoon progresses, you notice the landscape changing again. The hills become gentler, the stream grows wider and slower, and you can smell something new in the air: salt and seaweed and the vast openness of the ocean. The stream is becoming a river now, deep enough for larger fish and wide enough for water birds to float peacefully on its surface. You see a great blue heron standing motionless in the shallows, so still it looks like a statue, until it suddenly darts its head down to catch a fish. "Patience," the heron seems to say without words. "I could chase fish all day and catch none. Instead, I become still, and the fish come to me. Sometimes the best action is stillness. Sometimes the best movement is waiting." As evening approaches, you can see the ocean ahead, a vast expanse of blue that stretches to the horizon. The river is moving more slowly now, as if it too is amazed by the magnitude of what lies ahead. "This is where my journey leads," the river says softly. "From tiny mountain stream to vast ocean. I started as just a few drops of rain on a mountainside, and now I'm part of something infinite and eternal. But before you reach the ocean, the river guides you to a special place. A quiet backwater where enormous lily pads float like natural boats on the still water. The lily pads are big enough to support you, and the river gently lifts you onto the largest, most comfortable one. Rest here for a while, the river whispers. Feel what it's like to be still, while still being part of the flow. You lie back on your lily pad, feeling it rock gently on the calm water. Above you, the sky is beginning to show the colors of sunset, soft pink and lavender and gold. Around you, the water laps quietly against the other lily pads, creating the most peaceful sound imaginable. Fish swim lazily beneath your lily pad, their movements creating gentle ripples. Dragonflies land and take off from the broad green leaves. A family of ducks paddles by, the babies following their mother in a perfect line, leaving a small wake of V-shaped ripples behind them. "This is the gift of going with the flow," the river murmurs. "You don't have to fight every current or struggle against every obstacle. You can trust that the water knows where it's going. You can adapt when you need to, rest when you can, and enjoy the journey instead of worrying about the destination." The stars begin to appear in the darkening sky, and you can hear the distant sound of ocean waves where the river finally meets the sea. Night-blooming water lilies begin to open around you, releasing a sweet fragrance that mixes with the cool evening air. Your lily pad rocks gently like a natural cradle, and you feel completely supported by the water beneath you. The river continues its ancient song, quieter now, deeper, more like a lullaby than a celebration. "Sleep now," the river whispers. "Let me carry your dreams toward the ocean. Rest in the knowledge that you too can flow around any obstacle, adapt to any change, and trust in the current of life to carry you exactly where you need to go." The gentle rocking of your lily pad, the soft sound of water moving peacefully around you, and the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers all combine to create the most perfect sleeping place imaginable. Above you, the stars reflect on the water's surface, creating a mirror of the heavens, and slowly, peacefully, you drift into dreams as gentle and flowing as the river itself. Part 5. The Garden of Forgotten Worries. You wake on your lily pad as dawn light spreads across the water like spilled honey. The river has carried you through the night to a place you've never seen before, a quiet cove where willows trail their long green fingers in the water, and morning mist rises like gentle spirits from the surface. As you sit up and look around, you notice something wonderful. There, beyond the willows, partially hidden by a curtain of Spanish moss and climbing roses, is what looks like the entrance to a secret garden. An old wooden gate, painted soft green and covered in flowering vines, stands slightly open as if inviting you to peek inside. The lily pad gently bumps against a small dock made of smooth stones. You step carefully onto the dock, your feet finding perfect balance on the sun-warmed rocks. The morning air smells of jasmine and something else, something sweet and comforting that you can't quite name, but that makes you feel completely welcome. You walk toward the mysterious gate, noticing how the path beneath your feet is made of soft moss that feels like the most comfortable carpet. The gate's hinges don't creak when you push it open. Instead, they whisper like a gentle sigh of contentment. And there it is, the most extraordinary garden you've ever seen. At first glance, it looks like any beautiful garden, filled with flowers of every color imaginable. But as you look more closely, you realize there's something very special about this place. Each flower seems to glow with a soft inner light, and each one is somehow familiar, as if you've seen it in a dream you can't quite remember. "Welcome to the Garden of Forgotten Worries," says a gentle voice behind you. You turn to see the kindest person you've ever met. They're neither young nor old, but somehow both at once, with eyes that sparkle with understanding and hands that are beautifully stained with earth from years of caring for growing things. They wear a sun hat decorated with fresh flowers and an apron with pockets bulging with gardening tools and mysterious seeds. "I'm the gardener," they say with a smile that feels like warm sunshine. "I've been tending this garden for longer than anyone can remember, and I've been waiting for you to visit." "What kind of garden is this?" you ask, looking around at the glowing flowers that seem to hum with quiet contentment. "This is where old worries come to be transformed," the gardener explains, kneeling beside a bed of the most beautiful purple flowers you've ever seen. Every worry that anyone has ever released, every fear they've let go of, every anxious thought they've decided to stop carrying, they all find their way here eventually. The gardener gently touches one of the purple blooms, and it seems to shimmer and dance. These were once someone's fears about not being good enough, but see how beautiful they've become. Fear, when it's no longer needed, makes the most stunning flowers. You walk deeper into the garden, amazed by what you see. There are roses that glow like sunset. The gardener explains these grew from worries about the future. There are daisies that sparkle like stars, grown from concerns about what others might think. tall sunflowers stretch toward the sky, their faces bright and happy, transformed from old sadnesses about things that couldn't be changed. But how do worries become flowers, you ask, stopping beside a patch of the softest pink peonies you've ever seen? The same way a seed becomes a flower, the gardener says, pulling a small trowel from their apron pocket. When you plant something in the right soil, with the right care, it transforms into something completely different. Worries are just seeds that haven't found the right place to grow yet. The gardener leads you to a special section of the garden where the soil looks dark and rich and perfectly prepared. This is where new worries come to be planted. Do you have any you'd like to leave here? Old fears or anxieties that you're ready to let transform into something beautiful? You think for a moment and realize that yes, even after all your peaceful journeys, there are still some worried thoughts tucked away in your heart. Little fears that have been following you around like shadows. Maybe worry about disappointing people you love, or anxiety about changes that might be coming, or that nagging feeling that you should be doing more, being more. It's okay, the gardener says gently, as if reading your thoughts. Everyone has them. The secret isn't to never have worries. The secret is knowing what to do with them when they've served their purpose. The gardener hands you a small spade and shows you how to dig a tiny hole in the rich, dark earth. Choose one worry, they say softly. Just one to start with. Hold it in your mind, thank it for trying to protect you, and then let it go into the soil. You close your eyes and think of one particular worry that's been weighing on your heart. Instead of pushing it away, you hold it gently, like holding a small, frightened animal. You whisper thank you to it for trying to keep you safe, even though its protection isn't needed anymore. Then, with a deep breath, you imagine placing that worry into the small hole you've dug. The moment it touches the earth, something magical happens. The soil begins to glow with the softest golden light, and you can feel something peaceful and hopeful taking the worry's place in your heart. Now we water it, the gardener says, producing a beautiful watering can painted with butterflies and birds. But not with regular water, with understanding and compassion. As the gardener sprinkles the planted worry with what looks like liquid starlight, they explain. Every worry grew from love, you know. We worry about people we care about, situations that matter to us, futures we hope for. When we plant our worries here, we're not throwing away the love. We're letting the love grow in a new way. You watch in amazement as something begins to happen in the soil where you planted your worry. A tiny green shoot pushes up through the earth, unfurls its first leaves, and then, incredibly quickly, but somehow naturally, begins to bloom into the most beautiful flower you've ever seen. It's unlike any flower you know. It seems to contain all colors and no colors at the same time, shifting like an opal in the gentle light. But more than its appearance, it's the feeling it gives you. Looking at this flower that grew from your old worry fills you with the strangest sense of peace and hope and lightness. This is what that worry really was underneath, the gardener explains. It was love, wanting to protect and care. Now that love can shine freely without the weight of fear around it. You spend time walking through the garden with the gardener, learning about all the different flowers and what they once were. The tall iris beds grew from worries about being alone. The cheerful marigolds were once fears about making mistakes. The elegant lily patch bloomed from anxieties about the future. People visit this garden in their dreams sometimes, the gardener tells you as you admire a section of climbing sweet peas that smell like vanilla and sunshine. They don't always remember the visit when they wake up, but they remember the feeling, that sense that their worries have been transformed into something beautiful and useful. Useful? You ask. Oh yes, the gardener smiles, leading you to an area where bees are busy collecting nectar from worry flowers. These flowers feed the bees that pollinate food crops. Their petals, when they fall, become compost that nourishes new growth. Their seeds travel on the wind to start new gardens in other places. Nothing here is wasted. Every transformed worry becomes part of the cycle of beauty and nourishment. As you continue exploring, you meet some of the garden's other inhabitants. Butterflies that seem to be made of pure joy flutter from bloom to bloom, their wings catching the light like living rainbows. A family of rabbits hops peacefully between the flower beds, nibbling on special plants that the gardener grows just for them. Even the creatures here were once something else, the gardener explains as a particularly beautiful butterfly lands on your shoulder. This butterfly was once someone's fear of change. But butterflies are change made beautiful, aren't they? They show us that transformation is natural and wonderful. Near the center of the garden, you discover a beautiful fountain surrounded by the most spectacular flowers of all. The water in the fountain is crystal clear and makes the most musical sound as it flows. This is the fountain of released tears, the gardener says softly. Every tear that was ever cried from worry or fear or sadness eventually finds its way here. The water carries away the salt of sorrow and leaves only the love that was underneath. You cup your hands and take a sip of the fountain water. It tastes like the sweetest, purest water you've ever had, and drinking it fills you with a sense of deep peace and understanding. As the morning progresses, the gardener shows you how to tend some of the newer plantings, worries that have recently been planted and are just beginning to sprout. You learn how to recognize when a worry plant needs more compassion water, or when it's ready to bloom into its full beauty. The most important thing to remember, the gardener says as they prepare a small gift for you, is that this garden is always here. Whenever you have a worry that's ready to be transformed, you can imagine bringing it here. Even if you forget the details of this place, your heart will remember the feeling that worries can become beauty, that nothing difficult is ever wasted. The gardener reaches into their deep apron pocket and pulls out a small cloth bag filled with seeds. But these aren't ordinary seeds. They shimmer with potential and feel warm in your hands. These are hope seeds, the gardener explains. They grew from the most beautiful flowers in the garden, the ones that came from the deepest worries that were released with the most love. Plant these in your own life, and they'll grow into moments of joy, peace, and beautiful surprise. You tuck the precious seed packet into your pocket, feeling its warm weight against your heart. As you prepare to leave this magical place, you take one last look around the garden of forgotten worries. Every flower seems to nod at you in farewell, and the butterflies gather in a swirling dance of color and light. The fountain's song grows sweeter, and even the bees seem to hum in harmony. Remember, the gardener calls as you walk back toward the moss-covered gate. Worry is just love wearing a disguise. When you're ready to let the disguise fall away, the love that's underneath can bloom into something more beautiful than you ever imagined. You walk through the gate feeling lighter than air, carrying nothing but the warm packet of hope seeds and a heart full of understanding. Behind you, the garden of forgotten worries continues its patient, beautiful work, transforming every released fear into flowers that feed the world with beauty and peace. The morning sun feels perfect on your face as you make your way back to the water, knowing that somewhere in the world, there's a place where every difficult feeling can become something wonderful, and that you carry a piece of that magic with you wherever you go. Part 6. The Sleepy Village of Dreams. As you walk away from the garden of forgotten worries, the hope seeds warm in your pocket. You notice the light beginning to change. The bright morning sun is softening into the golden glow of late afternoon, and the air carries the peaceful feeling that comes when the day is gently drawing to a close. Ahead of you, beyond a rolling meadow dotted with sleepy sheep, you can see something wonderful, the most charming little village you've ever imagined. Smoke rises lazily from stone chimneys, and warm yellow light glows from cottage windows. Everything about this place whispers of comfort, safety, and the kind of peace that comes at the end of a well-lived day. You walk down the cobblestone path that leads into the village, your footsteps making the softest clicking sound on the smooth stones. The first thing you notice is how quiet everything is. Not the empty quiet of loneliness, but the full quiet of contentment. This is a place where people are finishing their daily tasks with satisfaction and preparing for the gentle rest that night will bring. At the village bakery, you can see the baker through the warm, steamy window. She's a kind-faced woman with flour dusted on her apron, carefully putting away the last loaves of bread from the day's baking. The bread smells like comfort itself, warm and yeasty and homey. She sees you through the window and gives you the most welcoming smile, pointing to a small loaf wrapped in a checkered cloth that she's left on the windowsill just for you. You take the gift gratefully, feeling the bread's warmth through the cloth. It's still soft and perfect, and taking a small bite fills you with the taste of home and safety and love baked right in. Next door, the shopkeeper is closing up for the day. He's an elderly gentleman with twinkling eyes who moves with the slow, deliberate care of someone who has learned to savor each moment. You watch as he carefully arranges his window display one final time. Beautiful handmade soaps, soft woolen scarves, and little carved wooden toys that look like they were made with infinite patience and love. As he locks his door, he notices you watching and tips his cap in the most polite, old-fashioned way. "Good evening, young traveler," he says in a voice like warm honey. "Welcome to our village. You've arrived at the perfect time, just when we're all settling in for the night." Further down the street, you hear the sound of children's laughter growing softer and more peaceful. In a small park at the center of the village, a group of children are playing one last gentle game before their parents call them home. They're not running wildly or shouting. Instead, they're playing something quiet and dreamy, like a slow-motion game of tag, where being caught means you get to rest peacefully on the soft grass until everyone else joins you. One by one, loving voices call from cottage doorways. "Emma, time to come in. Thomas, let's get ready for bed. Sarah, your warm milk is waiting." The children don't complain or resist. Instead, they hug each other goodnight and skip happily toward their homes, already looking sleepy and content. As the sun sinks lower in the sky, something magical begins to happen throughout the village. One by one, people begin to appear in their doorways and windows, each holding a small white candle. First, the baker steps out of her shop, then the shopkeeper emerges from his cottage, then families gather on their front steps. "It's our evening ritual," explains a woman with a gentle voice who's standing nearby with her own candle. Every night, just as the sun sets, we each light one small candle and hold it for a moment. It's our way of saying thank you for the day that's ending and welcoming the peaceful night that's coming. You watch in wonder as more and more candles appear throughout the village. Children lean out of upstairs windows with their little lights. Elderly people sit in rocking chairs on their porches with candles flickering beside them. And couples stand together in their gardens, sharing the warm glow. The woman beside you reaches into her pocket and pulls out an extra candle, a small white one in a protective glass holder. "Would you like to join us?" she asks with the kindest smile. Everyone who visits our village is welcome to be part of our evening blessing. You take the candle gratefully, and she helps you light it from her own. The flame dances gently, casting the softest golden light on your face and filling you with a sense of belonging and peace. As you stand there holding your candle with all the other villagers, someone begins to hum, just a simple, wordless tune that seems to rise naturally from the gathering darkness. Others join in, not with words, but with gentle humming that harmonizes perfectly, like a lullaby sung by an entire community. The humming grows softer and softer as the candles begin to be blown out, one by one. Families go inside, calling quiet goodnights to their neighbors. Lights in windows grow dimmer. The village is preparing for sleep. "Come," says the kind woman who gave you the candle. There's a room waiting for you at the inn. It's the coziest room in the whole village, and it's been prepared especially for travelers like you who need a perfect night's rest. She leads you to a charming little building at the end of the main street. The inn looks like something from a fairy tale, with ivy growing up its walls and flower boxes full of lavender and chamomile under each window. A wooden sign swings gently in the evening breeze. "The Peaceful Rest Inn. All travelers welcome." The innkeeper greets you at the door, a motherly woman with silver hair and eyes full of warmth. "We've been expecting you," she says, though you have no idea how she could have known you were coming. "Your room is ready, and I think you'll find everything you need for the most restful sleep." She leads you up a narrow wooden staircase that creaks in the most comfortable, homey way. The walls are lined with paintings of peaceful countryside scenes, and the air smells of lavender and fresh linens. Your room is perfect. There's a small window that looks out over the village, now mostly dark except for a few gentle lights still glowing in windows. The bed is the most inviting thing you've ever seen, piled high with soft pillows and quilts that look like they were made by loving hands. On the bedside table, there's a cup of warm chamomile tea and a small plate of honey cookies. "The tea will help you sleep deeply," the innkeeper explains, fluffing your pillows one more time. "And the cookies were made with a special ingredient. They contain just a tiny bit of ground hope seeds from the garden of forgotten worries. They'll give you the sweetest dreams." You change into the soft night clothes that have been laid out for you. They feel like they're made of clouds and moonbeams. As you sip the warm tea and nibble a honey cookie, you look out your window at the peaceful village below. Everyone is settling in for the night now. The last lights are being turned off. The last doors are being gently closed. And the whole village is wrapping itself in the quiet blanket of evening. Even the street lamps have been dimmed to a soft glow that won't disturb anyone's dreams. You climb into the wonderful bed, and it's even more comfortable than it looked. The sheets are cool and smooth, the pillows cradle your head perfectly, and the quilts are just the right weight to make you feel safe and cozy without being too warm. Through your window, You can see the stars beginning to appear in the dark sky above the village. They twinkle like tiny nightlights, watching over everyone as they sleep. In the distance, you can hear the gentlest sound. Perhaps it's the wind in the trees, or maybe it's the village itself, breathing slowly and peacefully as it rests. Your eyes grow heavy, and you feel that wonderful, drowsy feeling that comes when you're perfectly safe, perfectly comfortable, and perfectly at peace. The hope seeds in your pocket seem to pulse gently with warmth, and you know that your dreams will be filled with all the beautiful places you've visited and all the wisdom you've learned. As sleep begins to take you, you hear the village settling into complete quiet around you. Every person, every animal, every flower in every garden is preparing for the deep, restorative rest that will prepare them for another beautiful day tomorrow. And slowly, peacefully, surrounded by the love and safety of the sleepy village of dreams, you drift off into the most perfect sleep, carrying with you all the peace and wisdom from your gentle journey through the world of quiet wonders. Conclusion. And there, in the softest bed in the peaceful village, surrounded by the gentle quiet of a community at rest, your journey through these quiet wonders comes to its perfect end. You've traveled far tonight, from floating above the world with a magical lantern, to learning patience from an ancient oak tree, to helping transform worries into gentle rain with the cloud shepherd. You flowed like water around life's obstacles, discovered how to turn your deepest concerns into beautiful flowers, and finally found your way to this place of complete rest and safety. Each place you visited has given you a gift, the knowledge that worries can be released and transformed, that patience is strength, that obstacles can be flowed around rather than fought against, and that even your most difficult feelings can bloom into something beautiful. The hope seeds in your pocket are warm with possibility, ready to grow into moments of joy and peace in your waking life. The wisdom of the oak tree lives in your heart now, reminding you that everything has its season and that you have the strength to weather any storm. The cloud shepherd's lesson stays with you. That transformation is always possible, that nothing is ever truly lost, only changed into something new. As you rest here in the sleepy village of dreams, let all the peace and calm from tonight's journey settle deeply into your mind and body. Let every worry dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Let every anxious thought transform into trust, every fear bloom into love, every tension flow away like water, finding its path to the sea. Tomorrow will bring its own adventures and challenges, but tonight, right now, all you need to do is rest. Sleep deeply, dream sweetly, and wake tomorrow carrying within you all the quiet wisdom and gentle peace from this magical journey through the world of Zen stories. The village sleeps around you, the stars watch over you, and the whole universe whispers its gentle lullaby of peace. Close your eyes now and let yourself drift into the deepest, most restorative sleep, knowing that you are safe, you are loved, and all is well. Sweet dreams, dear traveler. Rest peacefully until morning light finds you refreshed and ready for whatever beautiful tomorrow awaits.